What's going on, Defenders? It's your friendly neighborhood Filler Monster here, getting ready to say hello, Los Angeles. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer. Hello, lovers of the beautiful game. And, of course, hello to the millions and millions of Defenders of the Bank listeners. This is One More Sleep, the League's Cup RSL preview show. You all know me right now, the platinum-colored haired flamingo. My name is Christian Philly Phileman. This is Hello Kitty. And as you're noticing, no scarf. And first and foremost, I just want to give a massive shout out to everybody that reached out to myself, to JR, to the Defender social media accounts, wishing JR and his family all the best. Certainly appreciate that. I'm sure he's read your messages, and I got to tell you, it's certainly offering him strength in a time of need. I'm sorry if I confused anybody the last go around. JR is not the one that is in the hospital. At least that isn't required to be in the hospital. It's Papa Scarf that is in the hospital. JR's father hasn't been doing too well, and they're keeping an eye on him, monitoring it closely, and the prayers and all the positivity have helped. Fingers crossed that Papa Scarf turns things around and has a good recovery. So certainly appreciate you there, Defenders. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be me going solo for the time being. Not entirely sure about tomorrow, but hey, we're only focusing on today. And today is One More Sleep, the RSL preview. Defenders, we're going to be back at BMO in a couple of short hours, and it's not going to be the revenge match we had all anticipated. We were under the impression that we might get to compete against León and enact our revenge on the team that defeated us in the CONCACAF Champions League Cup final. But lo and behold, and unbeknownst and shockingly to some, RSL had other thoughts. And RSL decided to put the shebang bang down on León. It is them that we're going to be playing. León in that game against RSL in Sandy, Utah. That game had to be postponed today due to the rain that was occurring. A big shout out to that raccoon, by the way, that fell through the structure. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. It was unfortunate. We had pigeons invading BMO Stadium last game. They had raccoons in Sandy, Utah. But that game got delayed by a day, and it got played on the Friday. And that was a game in which, well, León went up early. And did they get cocky? Were they tired? I'm not even going to believe the tired rhetoric, because they had plenty of time to be ready and in shape for this match. But RSL did some business, man, defeating them 3-1. And RSL is a tough team. That's going to be the next team that we face in this round. And this isn't the same RSL team we competed against a couple of weeks ago. Back when we played RSL last time, we whooped up on them 3-0. But since that match, things have been turned around for this team. Pablo Mastroeni doing a fantastic job. They were 11th place in the West when we last competed against them. They are now in third. They were 3-5-2 when we last went up against them. They are now 10-7-7. They were 2-2-1 at home and 1-3-1 on the road. They're 4-4-4 at home. And here's the shocking thing: 6-3-3 on the road. A team that is tied with us in points, 37. They had 11 the last time we played against them. 10 goals, they now have 35. Is there any coincidence that this team's run of luck has changed since the June 10th signing of Chicho Arango? Damn well could be the case. This is a team firing on all cylinders. Chicho signed in his contract and was announced to the RSL faithful on June the 10th. However, he did not compete until July the 8th, in which he competed against Orlando, a game in which he scored. Now, Chicho Arango, how we also desperately wanted him as our designated player, it was RSL that made him their designated player. However, we did make a couple of dollars when Pachuca sold him off to RSL, so just wanted to reiterate that. The only other DP, in case you're wondering, Jefferson Savarino. Now, RSL is in the position that they're in as a result of their performance in the group stages in the League's Cup. Their first game, they absolutely whooped up on the Seattle Sounders by a score of 3-0. Blanked the boys from the Pacific Northwest. And coming into their July 26th matchup against mighty Monterrey, this is a team that was riding an 11-game unbeaten streak. Unfortunately, the Monterrey powerhouse Rayados whooped up on them 3-0. But then afterwards, they climbed through the group stages as a result of their performance, and they go up against CONCACAF Champions League champs, the Champions League champs. That's a fun statement. They beat Leon 3-1. Now, this is a Leon team that's slightly different than the Leon team that we competed against, but for the most part, a lot of the similar players. RSL did a fine job destroying Leon, and as a result of that, we're going up against them. And it's not just necessarily Chicho Arango that has been the player that has helped RSL turn the tides around. Obviously, he is one of them, but one of our own, Danny Musovski. I know that was a name that we were all proud to hear, but not somebody who we viewed as like one of our biggest scoring threats or options as a member of the Black and Gold. But since Danny the Moose went over to Sandy, Utah, he is taking care of business. During the course of the regular season, the Moose in 20 games has himself 5 goals. And he's also contributing to his teammates as well, dishing out, let's see here, 4 assists. I had him pegged at 5. So, I mean, he's got 9 points just from that regard. Danny Musovski, second leading scorer, just behind Jefferson Savarino, and they're tied for 4th in assists with Andrew. I was going to say Adrian. He's doing fine on that Winning Time show, the new series with the Lakers. But that's a story with Danny Musovski. LAFC did not have to compete in the group stages, as you know, because, well, Pachuca, champion of Liga MX, and us, champions of Major League Soccer, we all had the bye, so we did not have to worry about competing in the group stages. And the time that we had off, well, it was very fruitful because we came out and beat FC Juarez a touchdown to 1. We broke records for the most amount of goals ever scored by an LAFC team. On 3 occasions, we managed to put 6 in the back of the net. On this occasion, we had 7, and it was powered by the likes of Denny Bouanga with a hat trick, 2 goals and an assist by Carlos Vela. Let's talk about this game right here. Again, RSL, not the same team we've competed against. The team that is a lot better and a team that is going to make a run in the playoffs. I have no doubt about that. So I don't have too many things to bounce off of in terms of banter. So we're just going to get right to our players to watch, our keys to the game, and of course, our scoring prediction. Now, I managed to get the notes from Scarf that he wanted to contribute on here. So Scarf does have some input in this episode. So I just want you to know, Scarf, appreciate you. Nothing but love to you and your dad, your mom, your family, and the millions support you as well. So let's get into Scarf's players to watch. Danny Musovski, no surprise there. The Moose is gone on the loose and kicked a lot of other teams in the caboose since he joined the Sandy, Utah faithful. Again, I'd mentioned he's got 5 goals on the season. He's got 4 goals over the course, 4 assists over the course of the regular season, but he's contributing certainly within the CONCACAF Champions League. The Leagues Cup as well. Danny Musovski, along with Chicho Arango, these are guys that have 3 goals in 3 games, which is impressive, an impressive feature. I mean, they are doing so exceptionally well within this Leagues Cup. These are going to be the players to watch. And Danny Musovski, he's going to come back. Obviously, he's going to have something to prove. He's going to want to silence the crowd, albeit probably in a respectable way. We have nothing but love for Danny, and of course his brother Oliver, who's a big fan of the podcast. Shout out to the Musovski men and women out there. But Danny the Moose is a viable threat for RSL, finding the back of the net, one of the team's leading scorers. Now, Scarf's other player to watch on LAFC is a player that he chose to watch during the game against FC Juarez, in that of Kellen Acosta. Kellen Acosta started things out, contributing to LAFC's run against FC Juarez. And look, we need him to be that cog that he is in the midfield. He does a lot of great things from his set piece distribution, obviously holding things out in the midfield. Kellen Acosta is going to need to have a big game if we're going to look to go out there and get a W against RSL. Scar's players to watch. My players to watch, well, low-hanging fruit, as I normally like to pick, because, you know, you're paying the money to see some of these fantastic players. Chicho Arango is certainly somebody to keep an eye on. He's had himself 3 goals since joining RSL, and he's contributed quickly. They're already appreciating Chicho in Sandy, Utah. We're not going to appreciate him once the whistle blows and starts the game. But obviously, I expect that we are going to welcome him back because he was a member of the Black and Gold. He was a big, big reason as to why we are successful as we were last season. And honestly, it have been. Chicho Arango was a bright light even in the season that we had that was atrocious. He's going to be loved on the pitch, but the minute that whistle blows, Better not be hearing any cheering for Chicho Arango or Danny Musovski. Off the pitch, all good. Prior to the whistle, all good. After the game, unless they win, all good. But during that game, no cheering for Chicho Arango. I certainly am not going to be, or Danny Musovski. But he's not the only player to watch. I threw in Jefferson Savarino, the second designated player for RSL, because, well, he is this team's leading scorer. He has been even back when we played them and whooped up on them 3-0. He had 3 goals at that point. He's got 6 now. Jefferson Savarino, the second designated player on RSL, is the guy to watch. But obviously, I had to pick Chicho. Chicho's coming back. You know he's going to be excited for this. When asked in an interview whether or not he's going to celebrate, he said he is. He's going to be as polite and respectful about it as possible. But we're not going to give Chicho a reason to celebrate, because our back line is going to shut him down. And if he gets lucky enough to get a shot out on John McCarthy, J-Mac is going to stop and stuff Chicho on multiple occasions. So it's nice that we know that he's planning a celebration, but defenders, he's not going to get one, because we are not going to allow him to score if we play our game right. As far as LAFC is concerned, Denny Bouanga in non-MLS Cup games is gangbusters. He's awesome in MLS as well. But the guy has been scoring hat tricks in CONCACAF Champions League, in Leagues Cup. Denny Bouanga is a special player who does special things. Finding the back of the net on multiple occasions. He's our leading scorer throughout all competitions. And there's no reason to think that he is going to stop and or slow down against RSL. Now, many of you are probably wondering what the story is with Carlos Vela. Well, Steve Cherundolo addressed that in the media call earlier today. He had mentioned that Carlos is still recovering, that the injury wasn't dramatic, but most likely he will not be a part of the match. So don't count on Carlos Vela being there, and it is unfortunate because he gave us glimpses of 2019 Carlos Vela. He had his best game of the season against FC Juarez. And you could talk about the level of competition, whatever. Carlos Vela still had a tremendous game. Had he been the only one that contributed to that game, we would have ended up winning anyway on his brace and his assist. Carlos Vela will not be featuring. So that's the players to watch for LAFC. As far as our keys to the game, Scarf and I did not talk about this, but when they say great minds think alike, I'm going to reiterate that statement because we have a lot of the same things that we would like to say. Shut down our friends. By friends, of course, we're not talking about Damir Kreilach. We're not talking about Pablo Ruiz or Diego Luna or Jefferson Savarino. We're talking about Danny Musovski, and we are talking about Chicho Arango. These guys have been scoring a lot. These guys are the focal point of the attack. This is a team that mainly goes out of a 4-4-2 with their forwards up top in that of Musovski and Arango. You got Savarino coming in on the right wing within the midfield, and then Diego Luna all the way on the left with Pablo Ruiz and Ojeda in the middle. This is a formidable attack, but a lot of the goals are going to come by way of either Musovski, Arango, or Savarino. So keep an eye out on that in that 4-4-2 formation. We have to shut them down. Now, let me get into my keys to the game, obviously, because they're the same as Scarps. Shut down the forwards. If you look at them statistically against Leon, this is a team that dominated in a lot of facets. They had 18 shots with 6 on target. There's no surprise that they managed to find the back of the net on 3 occasions. They are clinical, they're good at finishing, and they do a good job of connecting on target and scoring those goals. At 50%, 6 shots on target, 3 goals, that's a fantastic turnaround and effort by their offense and their forwards. And, of course, Moose and Chicho are a big part of that. So if we could shut down those forwards, we're going to do a really good job at shutting down RSL. And that, keep in mind that with the players I just mentioned, they still have the mighty Damir Kreilach coming off of the bench. Not as a starter, but that goes to show you how much Danny Musovski has come into his own in this league. He was a role player as a member of the Black and Gold. Now he is a focal point of a Major League Soccer team's offense. Well-deserved and not a surprise. I'm happy to see him succeed, but of course, I don't want to see him succeed against us. So those are the keys to the game. We shut down their forwards and we move forward ourselves. Scarf score prediction? A modest 3-1. He thinks that we are going to defeat RSL and it's going to be relatively easy. 3-1 tells you that it's a competitive game until it's not a competitive game. Obviously, going up 2-0 doesn't mean much. You could get a team pulling one back, and then, of course, you can go ahead and go up with a 3-1 victory. I don't know if that's the way Scarf anticipated it, whether the game was going to be back and forth, whether or not it was going to be up and down, or whether or not LAFC was going to dominate and RSL would get a cheap goal in garbage time. But he does predict 3-1, and we call him Scarfstradamus for a reason, defenders. He's usually pretty on point with this. And spoiler, I was going to have the same score result, but I can't be the same exact as Scarf with both keys to the game and my scoring prediction. Look, I'll make it a little more competitive. I do think we're going to score 3 goals in this game, but I think they're going to score a couple as well. I'm predicting Savarino to get on the boards, and I am going to say that Chicho is going to threaten, but he's not going to score. It's going to be Musovski getting the other goal for RSL. I think that is a safe bet. I know a lot of y'all think that Chicho might be the one to score. I don't think he's going to score because I think our defenders and our goalkeeping is going to keep him away from celebrating in front of any side of BMO Stadium, whether it be the south end or whether it be the 3252 in the north end. I don't believe that Chicho's going to score because we are going to cover him immensely. So that's what I think there. Now, once LAFC goes on to win this game, they're going to have a showdown. And this, to me, is one of the most compelling games within the Leagues Cup. The Clásico Regio, Tigres versus Rayados versus Monterrey. Both Monterrey teams clashing against each other. It's going to be a fun and exciting game. It's a heated matchup during the regular season of Liga MX, but it's going to be an even more fun game within Leagues Cup. And we might have our ability to have some revenge from that CONCACAF Champions League final loss against Tigres. We get to welcome Gignac into BMO Stadium, or we get to compete against the mighty Monterrey that finished first place over the last Liga MX season. Either match is going to be really tough for LAFC. Tigres or Monterrey are both exceptional, phenomenal, and fantastic teams. If I can choose, I would prefer they go up against Monterrey because we're going to get our opportunity to play Tigres anyway during Campeones Cup. What I love about this Leagues Cup is the fact that we get to see teams that we don't normally see. Now, as much as I would like to play against a team like Tigres and see the likes of a Gignac, I would prefer to kind of spread things out. So I would like to play Monterrey because we're going to be playing Tigres anyway in the Campeones Cup, which, if you don't know, that's the best team from Major League Soccer, us, and the best team from Liga MX. Obviously, you have your Clausura and your Apertura. Tigres won one of those, and then Pachuca won the other one. Those two teams competed against each other. Tigres won, hence why we have them in the Campeones Cup. So that's the storyline there. Defenders, it's going to be fun being at BMO Stadium. It's going to be fun getting back to hang out with all of you. Regular season doesn't start until the 20th of the month, and we have several more games ahead of us should we successfully continue on within this Leagues Cup. We could be the representatives of the West, and what would be wild is there's an opportunity and a chance that we might go up against Club America for the right to move forward within the Leagues Cup final. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself there. We got to get through RSL, and obviously Tigres and Monterrey isn't going to be a walk in the park either. So that's the story. Defenders, I know a lot of y'all hoped to see Scarf, and up until 15, 20 minutes ago, I was under the impression that I would be seeing him and doing the show with him as well. But he's obviously got to take care of family business. Family comes before everything. So once again, I hope that you all join me in saying your prayers and keeping the faith for Papa Scarf and, of course, JR and his family. And the next time you all see him, make sure you give him a high five, a hug. The words of encouragement really do mean a lot and go a long way, especially during these rough times. And for Scarf in particular, this is rough. He's very close to his father and his mother, very close to his immediate family. He talks to them every day. I mean, it's part of his game day tradition to talk to his father after every LAFC goal, to talk to his father at halftime, to talk to his father after the game before we head down to the press conference. So it guts me as well. JR's father is a fine man. And as I mentioned earlier, Papa Scarf, we love you. We know they build him tough from upstate New York. So wishing all the best, saying our prayers for you. All right, defenders. That's all that we got for this One More Sleep, the RSL Leagues Cup preview. Stay tuned for another episode of Defenders of the Bank. Can't say whether or not it's going to be with Scarf. Maybe Panda's going to be there. Maybe it's going to be Hello Kitty and I bantering back and forth. I hope not. At least with Panda, I can have some fun and take a break from having to talk. Even I, believe it or not, get tired of hearing the sound of my own voice. Anyway, as always, I hope you found this informative, educational, and entertaining. Got to entertain because, well, that's what I like to do. I can tell you stuff until I'm blue in the face, until your ears are ringing. But I'd rather make you smile every once in a while and entertain you as well. So hopefully I've managed to accomplish that. And here's to LAFC moving on into the next round of the Leagues Cup, defeating RSL at BMO. So we will see each other soon. Much love, and let's go black and gold.